Yes, people, what's going on? And welcome back to the Practice Makes podcast. I've got my guy, my bro. Look at that smile.
Ah,
I've
Dexter.
I've got my brother, the legend, Hayes Amaze in the
Man,
building. How you doing, my bro?
I'm well. I can't complain, man. I can't complain. I'm home with my family, enjoying every bit of it. It's a blessing, man. I'm good. How you doing? You doing all right?
I'm I'm all good, bro. I've just woken up. It's 7:30 in the morning. I'm in Singapore.
Mm.
I'm on the road at the moment, so this is an early one for me. But I had to wake up early to get it in with my bro, and I'm really glad to have you here, bro. I'm really glad to have you
Good.
here and just be able to chat to you and just chop it up with you. You know, like I've been following your career for a long time. For those who don't know this guy, please just go on his Instagram and you'll see what time it is, man. He's an
What?
amazing musician. He's an amazing musician and an
Bless you, bro.
even better person. And you know, it's just been great to follow your career. I've been watching your videos and stuff online for like a really long time now. I'm fascinated by the way that you play,
Man.
and this pod is really about like chatting to people like yourself, whether it's musicians or just people in any walks of life, and just trying to get into the mind of what makes you tick and you know just how you think and that kind of thing. So like I really kind of want to just learn about you and the way that you think and your approach
Mm.
to music and your approach to business and life, you
Right.
know. So that's definitely what it's about, but I want to start like from the very beginning with you,
Okay.
and I've got like notes written down. I'm like I need to ask him what's going on here.
I got you.
But I want to start from the beginning, brother. So, for those who don't know, like, just let us know where you're from,
All right.
um, and how long you've been playing drums, and like the kind of inception of how it all started for you. Talk to me.
All right. I know they can't see my eyes because the screen
It's
is
good.
in
No,
my
it's all good,
glasses.
bro.
But so I'm from Washington D.C. I was born
Okay,
in Washington D.C., but I was raised in Maryland. A few different
okay,
parts in Maryland I was raised in, but yeah, the DMV is what we generally call the area. I've been playing
yep.
20. I'm 26 now, I think, and
Jeez.
I've been playing since I was 2, 3 years old. Um, I didn't drums playing drums wasn't my career goal when I was a kid. I actually wanted to be in the NFL. I played football all throughout my childhood. I wanted to be in the
Okay,
NFL and I wanted to be a police officer. Those are my two goals. So like
okay.
I went to like summer camps of like detective and things like that, like just kind of
Wow.
learning how to investigate and things like that.
Yeah,
Because that
yeah.
was really my passion, and I love action movies. So the movies are what really got me into wanting to, be like a police officer or CIA or all this
Yeah,
other type
yeah,
of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
But in high school, I went to a school called Suitland High School, and they had the Center for Visual and Performing Arts, which is what we call the CVPA program there, which was obviously an arts program, and I
Yeah.
had to test in, by reading a few pieces, playing xylophone, timpani, playing the snare, all of that type of stuff. So I learned how to read music a tiny bit just to get past the audition, and I got accepted into the program. And the main reason I wanted to be at that school is because my childhood friends were going to that school. So
Right, right.
I went to elementary school. I had childhood friends, but then I had to go to a different middle school. I didn't go to the same middle school with all of my childhood friends. So high school is when I was able to like reconnect with, a lot of them. But I couldn't do the program and be on the football team. I had to choose
Mm.
one because it was an after school program.
Yeah, you had to
So
pick. You had to pick a
yeah,
side.
so I chose music, and then I mean, I went through 4 years of learning piano theory, learning how to do harmonic analysis, and playing, marimba vibes, all of this type of stuff. Um, and then I graduated in 2015. The year after I graduate, I test into Bowie State University. I make it, I get accepted into the school, but I end up telling my mom, I was just like, Mom, I don't want to go to college. I was only
Mm,
going to go part time because I didn't want to have to take out loans and I wanted to
yeah,
pay for everything myself. So I was only going to do part time. But I was like, I don't want to do this. So she was like, all right.
yeah,
She's like, either you not. She's just basically like, you're not going to be sitting around all day doing nothing.
yeah. I
So,
remember that convo with
yeah.
my mum, boy.
So she was like, I'll give you some time. She was like, but you got to make something happen with your music career, or you're going to have to get a job because you're not going to just be sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah,
So that's what I did. I wasn't going hard for trying to get gigs and things like that. I was honestly just spending every day just going crazy. I was downstairs just practicing all day, every day, just like, oh, I
yeah.
want to get my chops up. I want to get my chops up. But then I got into a local band around I think like 2000, the end of 2016, beginning of 17, and that was kind of my start of playing just in different, like clubs and different events around town. And
Yeah.
then 2018 rolls around, and my cousin, he was the music director for an artist named Raheem Devon, and that
Mhm.
was my first international gig. Well, my first gig, like having to travel somewhere for it, and that gig was in Punta Cana. They were doing some type
Mm.
of festival out there. So my first live show was in Punta Cana, and like after that one, I played a couple more and a couple more, and after a few gigs, they were just like, "Yeah, the gig is yours if you want it." So
Yeah,
of course, I was like, "All right, cool. Like I want to
yeah.
play." So
Was you posting clips when you was playing with Raheem
yeah,
Devon?
yep,
Yeah, I
yep, yep.
remember seeing that. Yeah.
I
That's how
was.
long I've been following you, bro.
That's a blessing, man. That's a
No,
blessing,
no,
man. But yeah.
no.
So and then from then, I just started, doing other gigs up to what I'm doing now. And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I started really focusing on my brand over the past few years. Well,
Yeah,
not what, man, what was it, like 5 or 6 years now, something like that.
yeah.
But basically, after if none of y'all have saw, I have a remember the time video when I was with a domain symbols company,
Mhm,
and they
mhm.
posted that, and we all pushed it together and everything like that, and it did cool numbers and everything like that. So from then on was really my kind of like step into the world and let me
Right.
actually become a content creator. Let me actually push my brand and become a business. We were
Yeah,
talking about that before we
yeah.
started this. And yeah, since then, I've just been doing that. So
Bro, I think your journey is absolutely fascinating, and this is why I want to talk to you
okay.
about so much stuff from becoming a business
Hmm.
and just even prior to that. Now, one of the first things that you mentioned earlier is like the area that you're from,
Yes.
DC, and like growing up. Did you say you're from DC or you grew up in Maryland? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
right, or the other way
I was
around?
born in DC and raised in Maryland.
Okay, cool. So the area that you're from, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of like drummers. There's a lot of like musical influences, and I kind of want to start from that point.
Okay.
Like, how heavy is like the area that you're from? How heavy is that an inspiration to you? Who was you watching? Like when you're a kid, kind of growing up to like
Hmm.
teenage years. Because I want to talk about like first of all your sound, like your
Right.
voice on
Okay.
the drums,
Hmm.
and this is a thing that like it fascinates me with musicians all over the world that you've got like certain areas. Like if you come to London
Hmm.
and you hear like how like the London drummers sound, there's something that's similar between a lot of us, but then like London is split up between north, east, south, and west.
Got you.
The
Okay.
south drummers might sound a little bit different to the east drummers,
Uh huh.
and you have obviously the same thing in America. Like different musicians sound different if they're from LA or New York or
Exactly.
DC or Philly or
Yep.
whatever. So what kind of influences are going on, like from your house to your area when you're a kid to develop
Yeah.
your sound?
Man, when I was younger, I would tell you this every single day I was on YouTube. Really, all I would watch was Nick Smith, and
Yeah,
that's super honest.
yeah.
And
Shout
the
out to Nick,
reason
man.
that, yeah, the thing that drew me to Nick, man, is because we were close in, well, not were, because we're close in age.
Yeah,
Um, well, from what I think, I was probably like 10 or 11. He was maybe like 15, 16, something like that. But
yeah,
just watching his videos, he was a younger drummer that I actually really liked, and he was
yeah.
actually posting. A lot of younger drummers weren't
Right.
posting
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
he was posting and people were posting him a lot and things like that. So, a huge bit of my sound, and it still lingers this day in my sound, is from Nick Smith. Like the grooves and type of decisions that I make heavily came from listening and watching him. And then of course Aaron Spears, I will watch
Yeah,
him a lot.
yeah. May
Coming
rest in
from,
peace.
yeah, rest in peace to Aaron. But
Good
I watch
on
him
him.
a lot, and Jamal Moore, I will watch him a lot. Guy named
Yeah,
Dominique Austin, um, Jeremy Wimbush, I will watch him, a
yeah.
bunch, and just different drummers from the area. There was a shed called the 4DC shed that used to happen.
Right. I've seen that
Yep,
online.
guy named David Callahan. He had passed away. I don't know if it was like 2012 or so, or
Okay.
maybe before that. But guy named Silk Gates, he began to throw sheds for in honor of David Callahan, which is why it was called
Right.
4DC.
Right. Right.
And watching those videos, just seeing, everybody play Steve Johnson. He was another huge inspiration because Steve Johnson was maybe the first person that I actually became like close with, because he was really close to my bigger cousin, my older
Okay.
cousin, who was actually the music director for Raheem Devon. They
Okay.
you know they were been super close for years and years and years. So Steve is the actual person that I was like exposed to first and became close with first, like personally.
Yeah.
And then, everything, I started meeting everybody else after going to sheds and things like that. But yeah, man, when I was younger, that's what it was for me. I wasn't,
And but there's always going to be moments where I kind of stop and like I
huh?
got to pick your brain on
Yeah,
there's, like on little things that you say. But I think this bit is fascinating, like especially when you talk about the sheds and like just getting to see these people like up close and personal. Like, are
mhm,
you when you was younger, was you taking more from what you're seeing in person
mhm.
or like the clips on YouTube?
Clips on YouTube. I didn't start going to drum sheds until I was maybe 15 or 16 years old.
Okay.
A few other young guys around here, they were going to sheds and they actually knew like the Aarons and Jamals and
Right.
Greg and
Right.
stuff like that. They knew them. I didn't. So when I started going to sheds is when I started knowing these people and actually seeing them in person and
Yeah.
seeing them play in person. So all of it before I went to the sheds had came from me just seeing them on YouTube. That's yeah,
Wow.
that was the
And then
biggest
so like growing up in your do you come from obviously you mentioned your cousin,
thing.
like in your kind of like immediate household is like what kind of music is playing because this stuff also fascinates me like just the stuff that you're listening to internally that you don't
Oh,
realize is already shaping your sound
right,
from when
right.
you're like 3 to 5 to do you know what I
Yeah,
mean like because I
that's true.
always say like the music that I was listening to. I mean, like I grew up playing in church,
Mhm.
but I grew up playing in church kind of late
Okay.
compared to maybe my friends who grew up in the church. Like I wasn't born into
Oh,
the
gotcha,
church.
gotcha. Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
I joined church when I was about 11 or something like that, which is early to some. But if
Right.
you grew up in it,
Yeah.
you're already like 10
You
years
already
behind. You know, so
right, right,
I had to like discover all of these records and these drummers and
right.
find out who all of these guys were. I had to go and find out. It wasn't playing in my house.
Right,
You
right.
know what
I
I'm
got
saying?
you.
What kind of stuff was that playing in your house when you was growing up?
A lot of smooth jazz, a lot of smooth jazz, a lot of Prince, like Prince. He had a live CD from
Yeah.
one of his shows that my dad's a guitarist, and he sings. My whole
Cool.
family, yeah, I come from a family of musicians. Everyone in my
Okay.
family sings or plays something or whatever like that. So yeah, it was a lot of that Prince DVD, just doom, doom, ka, doom, doom, ka,
Yeah.
doom, doom,
Yeah.
doom,
Yeah.
doom.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like a lot of the of old Prince records. My father would play a whole bunch, but so much smooth jazz. Every time we're in the car and we're going somewhere, it's smooth. It was called, what was it? Smooth Jazz 105.9 or something like that. And it was, George Benson was
Yeah.
playing all the time. So I listened to a lot. I didn't. I'm not going to say that I took the time to listen to a lot of smooth jazz or Prince, but that's what
Yeah.
was playing.
Yeah, it's
From
already in you, like
exactly.
it's
Yep.
already there.
So that
Yeah,
that that's what was playing. Yep. And
I
and
think
it's
that
good
stuff.
music, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that stuff is dope, and that's it's such an integral part that you kind of don't realize that it's there,
Mhm.
but it's already shaping your sound. So
Yeah.
one thing that me and you was chatting about just before we went live is the fact that you guys in America can play in your house. Like you can set up your drums in your yard and play for
Mhm.
hours. So when you're like a teenager kid, have you already got a kit in the house that you can just fully go in on? Like when
Mhm.
did you get your first kit? What kit was that?
Yeah. So I was when I was young, as I said, I started around 2 or 3 years old. They would buy me these little toy kits, and
Yeah,
next day holes would be in them. I
yeah,
wasn't the
yeah,
pots and pan. I wasn't really the pots and pans,
yeah,
guy, but I had these little toy kits, and I remember my parents told me that it was just one time that they were just like, all right, if you break holes in this one, then you won't get another one for a long time. Just disciplining me
mm,
to actually take
mm.
care of my stuff. So I was around 7 years old when I got my first drum kit. It was a hold up. I still have it right here.
Oh my days! I need to see this.
This is just this is just a tom from it. It is a Tama
Oh,
stage
snap.
star.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh,
Stage
sick,
star. So
sick.
that
Yeah,
was my
yeah.
favorite. That was my first drum kit that I've ever
Is
had.
that?
It was a 10, 12, 14, 18-inch bass drum, and
Yeah.
I don't even know. Hello, Mariah. Everybody say hello to my daughter Mariah.
Hello.
I'm
You're
doing
right.
a quick interview right now. 1 second. Sorry about
You know how it goes.
but yeah, so that was my first drum set. I don't even remember what snare came with it, but I remember I had a snare. It was a Tama. It was a chrome Tama snare. I think it was probably like a 13 by 5 or 13 by 5.5, something like that. But
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know, I didn't know really about gear like that. So yeah, I was playing that
Funny
for
enough,
a long time.
speaking of snares,
Uh-huh.
I've got to ask you why the tilt.
Oh, I remember, yeah, when I used to play the tilt, man. It's
Like,
I,
so
I I'll tell you why I used to play the tilt, and I know exactly why I used to tilt my drums because I used to sit this low. I used to sit low,
right.
and I used to be playing like this, and I used to be playing, and it just felt comfortable to be like this. I
Yeah,
like everything close, so I would tilt my
yeah,
drums. But
yeah,
after
yeah,
after getting more into the ergonomics, and like the skeletal system and everything like that, and just understanding posture and what's proper for your anatomy, I started to sit higher. So I still tilt a tiny bit, but
you
it's
still got
not
the
like
you still got the
my
tilt.
tilt used to be like this, but
Yeah,
now
I
it's
know.
more like
Yo, when I first saw this guy, I was like, how is he playing like that? He sounds so good. Like, he's got the tilt. I'm like, what?
Man, and when I tell you, bro, my hips, like the first time I went to the chiropractor, he told me that like my hip bone or hip joint or something like that was jammed kind of into my leg, like the top of my leg
Yeah,
was pretty much kind of jammed into my hip, and that's because I would sit so low. And when you're
yeah,
sitting so low, you gotta kind of
yeah,
you got
yeah,
to keep
yeah,
your body up, you know. So
yeah,
it would. I remember, man, my legs used to hurt, my thighs used to hurt after I got done
yeah,
shedding.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
why
yeah,
is it hurting? Find out I was just sitting too low and sitting too close to the
yeah.
drum.
A lot of people don't even consider that, like posture is like it's a serious thing, man. When you're
Yes,
playing drums, like you need to sit right,
right.
like
Yeah, man.
a lot of people kind of um take that for granted. So this is like really inspiring. Like it's so interesting, just kind of like because I love the way that you play, but it's really interesting kind of hearing the origins of that. So how
Yeah.
much hours would you say you was putting in when you really wanted to take it seriously?
I would get home from school. I probably got home from school like for five something. After
Mm,
the program that I was telling you about, I used to get home maybe about five something. And if my mom wasn't like tired, or if she wasn't telling me I don't feel like hearing that right now, then I would
yeah,
be down there just going crazy. And the
yeah,
problem is, like, as I got older, I started to understand why she would say that, because
yeah,
I was digging into the drums. I wasn't
yeah,
like I have this thing in my mind where it's like there's a difference between digging into the drums and playing off the drums. Playing off
yeah,
the drums is more finesse. That's how you play. You play with a bunch of finesse. Like I was just telling you about this that
yeah,
video.
yeah,
Like you play with so much finesse that where I'm from, DC, everybody hits hard. I mean, you've listened to Aaron, you've
yeah,
heard
yeah,
Jamal,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Dominique. All like they be going crazy. They be going in,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I
Like
felt like
in the middle of the drum, like
yeah,
yeah,
and I felt like in order to play that hard, I had to just give it everything I had. But
yeah,
they're not they're not playing to break the drums. I was playing to
yeah,
break the drums because I thought that's how I needed to play. But
yeah,
they're just playing and just doing their thing. But they were already, of course, experienced. So it's not like they're just digging in and breaking everything and stuff like that. And I didn't mention, I remember you saying you didn't grow up in church. I grew up in church, but I grew up singing in the choir. I wasn't playing.
mm,
I had never played drums at my home church when I was younger. My first time playing drums in church, I was about 15 or 16, and my uncle had a church, and they needed a drummer for a New Year's Eve service, and I
right,
played that, and then they asked me, if I wanted to play each Sunday. So
yeah,
I'm out to the choir, but I grew up listening to a whole bunch of church music, choir
yeah,
music, and
yeah,
everything like that. But like you said, I never got into, oh, this is Jeff Lowe Davis, or this is Gerald Hayward on this, or Eddie Hayward, or
yeah,
Calvin Rogers. Like I honestly didn't even care about that because I was singing in the choir. I wasn't really listening to the
right,
music
yeah.
or the
And there's
musician.
always a moment, right? Like, because I remember, it's funny. Obviously, like you mentioned Gerald, and like we've
Mhm,
spoken about Aaron. Like, there was a moment where it's like I can play the drums, and then
mhm.
like I heard like Gerald doing something for the first
Okay.
time, like on Drummer World, or I remember bro, I remember hearing Aaron Spears for the first time on these Usher rehearsals.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
and it was like I was like, "What kind of phrase it like, what?" Like, there's, like, a moment, right, where it
Uh-huh.
clicks or, like, where I first heard Gerald playing, like, with Destiny's Child, and then I was like, "Oh my days, I need to go and get that DVD, Live in Atlanta,"
Wow.
and learn the whole thing, like, back to back to back. Was there a moment where you saw a drummer and then it just absolutely clicked for you? I mean, you mentioned like Nick Smith and stuff like that before.
Mhm.
Was there was
Mhm.
there was there a moment that you remember where you're just like, I'm so blown away that this level?
Mhm.
is kind of what I wanna reach.
Um, if it did in my younger years, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'd be lying if I said anything because I don't remember something
Yeah.
actually being like that. Like just my
Yeah,
head just
yeah, yeah,
went
yeah.
like this is what it wasn't like that. It was always something that um I've always saw it as a gift, and
Yeah,
something that I just began to nurture as time went on, and something that I began to just sharpen. I do remember seeing there's a video on YouTube of Aaron and Jamal. They're playing "No Way I Can Make It Without You." They're playing that,
yeah, yeah.
and
I
it's
know
like
the
a
I know
green.
the
It's
clip.
yeah, it's a green. And when I saw that,
Like,
I was like, wow. I was like, these they're really like going for it. Like as
yeah,
far as the shit, I was like, yo, this is just two drummers just playing. But I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, as of recent, over the past couple years, watching Virgil Donati, that
mm,
watching him, and then of course, when you're younger, well, I'm not going to say this for anybody else, but when I was younger, I didn't care nothing about Dave Weckl, I didn't care nothing about Vinny Colaiuta, I didn't care about, I didn't care about that stuff. I was like, man, they old, they deep ass drummers. But as I started to get older, I'm
and
like,
you realize,
everything that we play is coming
yeah,
from them.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
as it's just started to click more. And then it just became that kind of thing where I found myself studying them
yeah,
a whole
yeah,
bunch. And that's when it started to click for me in the later years, maybe like
yeah,
18, 19 years old. But
yeah,
before then, yeah, I was just watching and I was like, "Oh, this is killing, this is killing, this is killing." But it wasn't like, like when I started watching like Mike Reed and Brian Fraser Moore
yeah,
play live shows. Like, okay,
yeah.
I will say the Justin Timberlake uh thing on Netflix, the Tennessee Kids on
Honestly,
Netflix.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I would say that was probably the most influential like performance I had ever saw. Between that and then Usher had like clips on YouTube from, I forget what year it was. Was it 2015 or 2012? Something like that. But it was like he was on this thing going over the crowd. It was a live show, and then on You Make Me Wanna, he was doing like this thing. It was like a treadmill under him and his dancers, and they did this
yeah,
crazy. I will watch it. I watched that a lot. You know what I mean?
yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that
I
that
think that might be the OMG tour because I remember watching. I
got
was
you.
there in London, yeah, when he did that
Was
show.
that
I remember
O2?
I was at the O2. I was
Ha!
at the O2,
Woo!
bro. I remember because me and one of my best friends, Ginger,
Uh-huh.
Ginger plays drums with Sam Smith, and we're from the same area. That's my
Wow,
guy.
nice.
Shout out to Ginger. But we used to watch so much Aaron stuff, and then like he came. I was like, "Yo, Usher's coming to the O2. Let's get tickets, bro." We was in the fifth row watching Aaron smash on that gig, bro.
Woo! Yep, it
Like
was the
we was
OMG
we
tour.
was literally we was literally there. So I definitely know exactly what you're talking about. I want to talk to you about
Mhm.
kind of getting into the professional world. Now you say that like you kind of started with Raheem Devon.
Uh-huh.
I used to listen to a lot of his music. Raheem Devon's like he's
Wow,
sick.
nice.
After after that, how what's the process? Because for those who don't know, Hayes plays with Nas as well,
Mhm.
which is an amazing gig. Like
Yeah,
Nas is a superstar.
yes.
What's the transition from Raheem Devon, who you
Mm,
you get that gig? Obviously, you talk about your cousin as well, so it helps
right,
having family that can bring you in.
right.
What's the process of you then getting the gig with Nas? Because how does that work? Because there's a lot of people that are going to watch this that are kind of like, how do I get put on? How
Right,
and
right.
it's different for everybody. Like, there's
Yeah.
no one way that it
Thank you for
works.
saying that. Thank you for
Yeah,
saying that, and that's something that no one ever they don't think about it, and sometimes they don't understand that it's not the same for
yeah,
everybody. It's not just it. There's no way I could just say, "This is how you get put on. Do this, and you'll be
yeah,
put on." Like it's
yeah,
so many different things. You gotta have character. You gotta
yeah,
build a great reputation. you gotta learn music,
Yeah.
study, be on time. Like you gotta build your personal
Yeah. Yeah.
qualities, because it's. I mean, as you know, it's so much more than just everybody is killing drums. Everybody's killing
Yeah.
drums, but what keeps you the gig is your personality and who
Yeah.
you are and how you handle your business. But 2021. Oh, okay. Well, back in 2017, I went to. It was a tour called "I Love the '90s" tour. Jamal Moore was on drums. A guy named
Mhm.
Young World was on keys, and a guy
Mhm.
named Michael Curtis on bass for TLC. So
Okay.
me and my friend Brendan, we went up to Wolf Trap in Virginia to watch that show, and it was a great experience. They hooked us up with like the in-ear packs, and we were sitting on the side of the stage just watching, just like, ooh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Production, dancing, all that type of stuff. So I got connected with the guy Young World, who's a music director for who was the music director for them. Currently, he was with Blackpink for a
Okay.
few years from now, and did stuff with a bunch of other people, Chris Brown, and stuff like that. Um, but I met him there, and my relationship with him continued. Like I continued to build that relationship with him, and just we would talk here and there at first, but then we started talking more regularly, and then he would send me tracks, he would send me rehearsals and stuff like that, and I would
Okay.
listen, I would study them, like I wouldn't literally sit there and like, okay, okay, this is happening, but I would listen to it so much that it stuck to my unconscious. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Internalizing it all.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the rehearsals was with an artist named Leela James, and my favorite drummer, my mentor, Jeremy Wimbush, he was the drummer for that tour that they did. But when
Right.
COVID had lifted, there was some shows. Like, as soon as COVID lifted, there were shows that he couldn't do. So Young World, he called me and asked me, and I was like, "Is this a question, or what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, is
Yeah.
this a
Yeah.
performance
Yeah.
question? Like, of course, I would love to fill in and play." So I did a rehearsal. After that the rehearsal went great, I thought. But after the rehearsal, I asked him, I was like, "How did you feel?" He was like, "Yo, I'm not gonna lie to you." He was like, "I expected you to come in here trying to blaze over everything, but you
Yeah.
were locking in the patterns, you were giving the feels, you were, you." He told me that I approached the situation a lot more mature than he thought that I would coming
Yeah.
into that, because of my background and stuff like that. But then he told me that she had said, I did good, but she just wanted me to be more aggressive. I'm like, okay, that's all you had to tell me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
type of artist, she loves, like, she loves just going crazy. Like, she loves when we just doing our
Right.
thing. So after he told me that, I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna flip the switch now, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we got
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
next rehearsal, and everything started coming
Oh, do
together.
you know what? I think like I just need to touch on that bit.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
That's such an interesting way of, because so much people would have gone in the other way.
right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I
Yep.
think it's always good when you can go in somewhere, kind of like lay the foundation, but they know that you got it,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
then it's like, all right, cool, I can give you more, rather
Right.
than going and giving like the whole thing, like
Yeah. And
emptying
then
the
they're like,
whole clip, and then they think that you can't hold it down.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's
Yeah.
really cool. But anyway, sorry, yeah, jump,
I
yeah,
don't know.
go,
You're
go.
good. You're good. You're good. But yeah, like you said, like he like before playing, I talked to him about the music, and the way that he looks at it is like it's a conversation between the band. You
Yeah,
have your spot to say something. Don't talk while somebody else is talking, because then it just sounds like a bunch of noise.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
internalizing that, the spots that, he told me was like maybe a solo spot or a spot for me to dig in, I would do that. And then I'm
yeah.
right back in the foundation playing whatever parts needed to be played. But so yeah, I did a gig with her, and then a couple gigs later, she wanted to keep me. And I still play with her to this day. So that was from
Cool.
2021 to now, that I play with an artist named Lisa James. I began to play with an artist named Tweet as well in 2018. But how
Yeah,
I got on the Nas gig is we were out in California for the Smoke and Grooves Fest in 2022, I think, something
yeah,
like that. And there's a lighting director. His name is Keith. I know him from my hometown, and I'm really, really cool with him. And then our tour director, his name is Flav. He's actually doing 50 Cent. They wanted to introduce me to the person who was doing Nas's TM that day, because she also does tour managing for D Nice, the DJ D
Okay.
Nice,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
You know Darius Woodley, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Darius, Darius
Yeah, shout out to Darius, man.
yeah, he was
That's
playing
my guy.
with D Nice, of course. Yeah, he plays with 50 Cent.
Yeah,
So 50 was about to do another tour. So the D Nice dates Darius wouldn't be able to do. So they were trying to figure out who would fill in. So Keith and Flav, they know each other real good too. So it was just like a full circle moment kind of. So they introduced me to the tour manager that was working that day with Nas, and I'm in the back room. I met her. I stayed the whole day, mind you.
yeah,
I performed with Leela at like 12 in the afternoon,
yeah,
and Nas didn't get off stage till maybe 11 o'clock that night. So
yeah,
I stayed almost 12 hours
yeah,
because they were like, I think you should stay. Like when
yeah.
somebody, I
That's
was
what.
gonna leave. I was gonna leave around 3 or 4, and then
Yeah,
Keith pulled me to the side. He was like, I really think you should stay, because I want to connect you with. And when he said that, I was like, all right, cool. I
yeah.
don't
I'm
care
saying
what
I ain't going nowhere.
exactly. It's a certain tone that people give when they really mean business.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
not,
yeah,
they're
for
not
sure.
all, it's like this is what's gonna happen. This is what we're gonna do. So yeah, so I met her, and then she's like, well, can you sing? Because the drummer who was playing before, shout out to Eddie Cole, he that was actually his last gig. That day was his last gig because he was going on
Mm,
to be the music director for Cirque du Soleil in Vegas.
cool,
So he's
cool.
the music director and like the lead star of that show. So
Right.
he was playing drums and singing on the gig. He's mainly a singer, but he could also play drums too. So
Right, right.
that was what he was doing. So she's asking, "Can I sing?" and stuff like that. I'm like, "Yeah, I can sing."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
she's like, "All
I
right."
thought I was singing in the choir.
Right. She's like, send me your number. Oh no, she said, take my number down and just send me your stuff. Send me whatever you got. So I sent her my electronic press kit. And I ain't hear nothing from her. I
Yeah,
think this was April. I heard nothing from her. I didn't get it. She didn't like the message. She didn't text back and say got it or looks good.
yeah. Just
None of
nothing.
that.
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not discouraged or anything. I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I mean?
Is what it is.
It is what it is, type thing.
Yeah,
And then January, February, March, April, May. So about a month and a half later, she calls me and she's like, hey, are you available to do this run? It's gonna be with Nas in Europe. And that was my first joint. So first I declined. I told her, hey, I already, have some stuff because I had a show that next Wednesday, and then I had a show in Aruba that next Friday or something like that, and my ticket was already booked and stuff. So I'm
okay.
keeping it professional, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I already have some stuff. And then I called. She's my wife now, but she was just my girlfriend at the time,
yeah,
and I called her, and she's like, are you?" Are you mental? She's like you better take it. So I was like, all right, cool. So I called my homie Alton, one of my best friends, man, Alton Clark. I called him and I
yeah,
said, "Yo, are you free this date? Are you free this date? Are you free this date?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm free for him or whatever like that." So I sent him the music, sent him rehearsals and everything that he would have needed to nail the shows. And
yeah,
then I called the music director who was doing the thing for Aruba. I had called him, and he was kind of upset that I was
yeah,
that I was about to do something else, but then I called Young World and I said, "Hey, I got this opportunity to go on the road with Nas," and he's like, "Take that." He's like, "All right, yeah." He's like, "We're gonna be good." You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, as long as you got somebody that's gonna come in and cover and they're gonna know the stuff, he's like, "We're gonna be good. Go do what go do what you do, or
yeah.
whatever." So
These
that's all
opportunities don't come around too often, man. So
exactly.
like you,
Yep.
and I just got to jump in there because like
Uh-huh.
there's so much times where like us as musicians, like we're gonna come to these crossroads where it's like
Yes, sir.
you know another opportunities come up but I need to let some people down or
Yeah.
something like that. And there's a way to do it as
Yes.
well, guys. Like as
Yes.
long as you're professional about it and you know that the person that you're bringing in is like, they can do the job,
Yep.
because sometimes people call the wrong depth
Yeah.
and it makes them look bad.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So
Yep.
like it's so important to make sure that things are covered, because life happens. Life
Yeah.
happens. Opportunities come up and
Mhm.
these situations come up. But as long as you do it in the right way,
Yes.
you are able to get out of situations. You just got to be professional at all times. So
Yeah.
that's super important. But anyway, yeah,
And to piggyback off of that, I always tell like my mentees and people who who I talk to about this stuff. I always tell them it's almost always the how. Well, it's never the what, it's the how. So
yeah,
it's not that I had to go do something else. It's how I went to go do something else. I didn't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna go do this Nas stuff and y'all figure it out."
yeah, 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 for sure.
I called him I called him before I even called the musical directors. I
Yeah,
called him
yeah,
and
yeah,
sent him the stuff and was just like, "I'm gonna need you to cover." And then I called the music directors and was like, "I got somebody in place unless y'all
yeah,
want to use somebody that y'all already got," type
yeah,
thing. But
yeah, yeah.
it's protocol. It's like it's a
There's a
certain
way
way.
to there's a way to
Yeah,
do things.
there's a way to do this stuff.
Yeah,
So and then I did that tour, and man, well, I'll back it up. It was maybe Tuesday when it was Tuesday when she asked me, and then I got back to her late Tuesday night. And then Wednesday, she sent me about 30 songs, and she's like, "Have you ever listened to Nas? You know his music?" I'm like, "I don't know his music.
yeah,
No, I don't. I've heard a few of the songs, like a few of the real popular songs I've
yeah,
heard, but other than that, nah." So she
yeah.
sent me like 30 songs. So she's at the same time she's doing that, she texts me and she's like, "Are you able to do rehearsal tomorrow in Phoenix with the DJ?" I'm like, "What?"
You
I
just sent me
guess
30
yeah.
songs.
I'm like, okay, yeah. So what I did,
Let's
I
go.
listened to the songs, and I don't have the book with me right now, but I wrote out notes in like a little book that I have, and
Yeah,
I can show you on my phone. I wrote notes, man, for this
yeah.
joint. Just having them
This
on my
is
phone, having them in a pic, like
this
man,
is so important. Like whilst you're finding that, like yo, the importance of writing things, writing notes, making charts, whatever you got to do.
man. Look,
That's what
this
you got
is
to do.
it's
Oh,
blurry.
it's a
I'm a
bit
blur.
blurry.
I'm a blur. I'm a unblur my background so y'all can see my drum heads and
Oh
sound
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But oh, okay. Let's try this. That's a little
Okay,
better.
we can see. Yeah, we can see. Okay, yeah, 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 yeah. I see.
But
Wow.
like this is how
Yeah, yeah,
this is how I took my
yeah,
notes for the
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I see that.
In the first couple shows. So I get to rehearsal and meet the DJ. Super nervous because I don't know the stuff.
Yeah,
People sidebar. People often ask me, do I ever get nervous when it's time to play shows and stuff like that? I don't get nervous anymore when I know the material. I
yeah. But when
only
you
get
don't know
nervous.
it,
Yes, that's
oh
when
man.
yeah. It's a whole different ball game when you don't know it. But so I'm in rehearsal and he's just playing through the songs and I'm listening and just kind of playing along with it just to get the
Yeah,
feel for it. And then one of the songs comes up to where I gotta sing, and that song is way too high for my register. So I'm in falsetto, sounding terrible. And I'm just,
yeah,
in my head, I'm like, I'm going down in flames right now. But like it wasn't the most horrible thing, but it
yeah,
wasn't because the guy Eddie, his boy, he's trained to be able to sing at different registers and stuff. I couldn't reach those notes.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
after rehearsal, I fly back home. The same night that I had the rehearsal, I flew back home, and yeah, the next day comes. It's Friday. The tour is supposed to leave. They're supposed to leave to go to Europe on that next Tuesday or Wednesday. So Friday rolls around. I'm like, hey, Rebecca, have you heard anything from the DJ? The DJ didn't tell
Yeah.
me. Yeah, all right, cool, man. I'll see you next week. He ain't say none of that.
Right.
He was
Okay.
like,
So they even said
like,
anything. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
right. He's just like, all right, cool. He was like, appreciate you or whatever like that. And he was like, we'll be in contact or whatever. So, Saturday rolls around and I'm asking again. I'm like, hey, you got flight information or what's going
Mm.
on pretty much. And she's like, hey, don't, she responds back, she's like, hey, don't cancel what you already have just yet. We're just making sure, if we're
Oh,
gonna,
wow.
use it or not or whatever like that. So I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah,
I responded back like, okay, but in my head, I'm like, man, I already canceled everything
yeah,
that I
yeah,
have. I'm going off in my head, but I don't know. So
yeah,
it was a piece. It was a piece that came over me that was just like, all right, like if I don't do it, then cool. It was a good, it was a good thing for me to do because I had to learn all of these songs last minute. I took notes and did all that. Like I had never
yeah,
done that before.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It was a
You
good
did you
experience.
did the best that you could at the time in that situation.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
So
You can't feel bad about it.
yeah, Monday rolls around and she sends me the information for me to leave out the next day. So I'm
Wow,
like, all right, cool. I'm like, I guess I'm going out. So I packed
exactly.
and everything like that. And the first couple shows, in my opinion, were horrible. I'm up with it. There are a few videos on YouTube actually, from the festivals that we were doing, and I'm up there on stage like
Mm.
this, I'm staring at my notes. I ain't care about nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, I'm gonna look at my notes
yeah,
because I know I took some good notes. But it like
yeah,
the
yeah,
things
yeah,
that really got me were the dropouts. Like there were a lot of dropouts and come back in, and I just didn't know those points yet. And
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
it was just building chemistry with the DJ and Nas on stage. It
So
wasn't,
for those who don't know, is the gig just is it you and DJ? Is there
yes.
okay,
Yep.
cool, cool, cool.
Just me and the DJ. It's literally like if you were to go sit down on your drums right now, press play on a song and jam to it. That's literally what it is because
Yeah,
it's no count ins, no cues, no metronome, no click. It's
yeah,
none of that. It's just me and the DJ spinning the tracks.
yeah.
Of course, he's dropping
And
out.
what's that experience like? Like you're now on the road and you're in Europe,
Mhm.
like what's the experience like just playing on that level? Because you're not doing like a regular gig, you're playing with a superstar, like you're playing with like with a legend.
Uh-huh.
Like how did you feel when you was on that stage? Did you feel like, all right, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be now? Like
Yeah.
what was the feeling for you?
Man, it was an amazing feeling. Like when I actually did look out into the crowd, I was like,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
it was like reality set in. Like this is what I'm about to be doing, and I'm gonna make sure that this is what I'm gonna be doing. So
absolutely.
I spent my off time just listening to the music, listening to the TV tracks that the DJ sent, so I can get the dropouts and everything. But
Yeah,
man, it was a great feeling. It was a humbling feeling. It was a nervous feeling that I had. All of the adrenaline, everything is just all the emotions and everything is going. And yeah, those are all of the feelings that I had at that
and
moment.
I want to kind of like move on, and we're gonna start to wrap it
Uh,
up soon. But like, I want to talk about now. You're on a big gig,
right.
and one of the things that I really admire about, like I said, I've been following your career for a long time,
Mm,
but there seemed to be like a switch where it was like, I'm I'm posting clips that
mhm.
like of me just having fun, and there seemed to be a switch where you're just like, no, 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 I'm making content now.
Right. Yeah.
I want to like actually angle this stuff as a business. And like you said, like we was chatting about this off air, but like there's there has to be a moment where like we do what we love because we love it,
Right.
and then actually no, like this is like a way of making money. This is a way of, I need to start looking at myself
Yeah.
as a business and
Right.
not just being here for the fun of it. Like,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
So I want to talk to you just quickly about like your presence online
Mhm.
and what made you start going for, I'm going to start making content
Right.
and taking this seriously. Like,
Uh-huh.
what was that switch for you? Because
Once
the way
I
that you done it was amazing.
appreciate it, bro, for real. Once I understood the the magnitude of social media and people actually do social media for a living, do YouTube,
Yeah,
for a living and, you know, all this type of stuff. And once I actually realized that, okay, you can make some real money by doing this stuff, or you could make money even if you're not making money directly from the social platform. Somebody may see you doing this. They see that you have a lot of followers, your content is clean and everything. Like they may want to
Yeah,
hire you to market their business or to market their
exactly.
company. Once I started thinking about that, I'm like, okay, I honestly don't want to be playing drums. I don't want to have to travel to make money at 65 years old, at 55 years old. Like, if I want to
Yeah,
come down and say I want to chill out before I wear myself out, I want to be able to do that.
yeah,
And a way to create that security for your future is by having other streams of income. So once I understood
yeah,
that, okay, this is how I can actually make money and I can make good money by doing this. I started
yeah,
just kind of, searching up, okay, kind of like the ranges of how much people get paid to be, like brand partnerships and things like that, and just understanding this is my career. Like
yeah,
this ain't this. I mean, of course, it's fun, and
yeah,
we're always gonna have fun doing what we do, but it's not playtime anymore. I got a
yeah,
wife,
yeah,
I have
yeah,
kids. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta, do insurance and mortgage
yeah,
and all of this type of stuff. So once I understood that I really, really got to start making money with this, it became so much bigger than me just playing on the stage with for artists because they're always going to be in charge. I'm gonna get
yeah,
paid what they want to pay me. You know what I mean? If I say,
yeah,
"Oh, I want to get paid this much," and they say, "Nah, I'm not. I don't want to pay you that much," then
yeah,
either I say, "Okay, I'll take what you can give me," or I'm rolling. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I don't want that to always be the case. I don't want to always have to work for somebody else in order to make my
Rely
money.
on that, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
sure.
So it became a thing of, okay, I could be out on the road, but if I have these online lessons or if I have this brand partnership where all I got to do is make a video and they're going to pay me, this is money that I can make while I'm making
Mm,
money playing like it, and it all
yeah,
can
yeah.
just it all
It becomes a business, and that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
It's so
Yep.
important for people to like just start figuring out that like we are so much more than just like chops and just having fun.
Yeah,
Like it's
man.
all good. It's all good if you can do that, and if you manage to get a gig where you're getting paid a whole load of money and you don't need to do anything else, then great for you.
Exactly.
But if
Exactly.
you can start to see yourself as way more than that
Right.
and be a business, then you are gonna make some money, and you are gonna just be able to put yourself in different places that you can't just put yourself in as being a drummer. Where was there a moment where you started to see, all right, cool, it's paying off, like numbers wise, in terms of like just the following going up, or was it just I'm just gonna keep on? Like, how do you think about the content that you're gonna post? Are you just like, I'm just gonna put this video out? Because a lot
Mhm.
of people as well, especially when they get in front of a camera, like it gets techie, man. Like
Yeah.
it gets a bit, like you become so conscious of what you're posting, and it's like, oh man, I've done this in 100 takes and I can't get it. I'm not gonna post it. Like, how do you get with the what you're posting and what you're putting out? Because now I just like it seems like you just post like all the
Mhm.
time. Good.
Yeah.
So what did you just go for, like a quality thing or a quantity thing?
It became for me, it became more about the quality because people, I mean, the day and so it goes so deep, man, because the day and age that we live in, something could be hot today, something else is gonna be hot tomorrow.
Yeah,
But quality never dies. Quality
yeah,
never dies. Everybody's always going to see some fresh quality sound wise and visually. So that became a big thing for me. And then when I started posting every day, that's when it became about quantity. And what really kind of set me off to really start posting is there were videos that I would post that I actually didn't think were the best, and I'm thinking too much on it. Well, the
yeah,
videos that I thought too much about and put too much effort in, they did not a lot of views and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I wouldn't get down from that. But then it'll
yeah,
be the videos to where I'm like, oh, capture this moment right quick, and somebody's recording, and I post it, and those are the videos that hit, and it's just like, wow,
yeah,
okay. And I feel like it's a heart thing when you're trying to do something to impress people. Sometimes it's gonna flop, but
yeah,
my pastor, my uncle which is my pastor, he had told me one time, "What's from the heart reaches the heart." So once I
Yeah, for
started doing
sure.
everything out of my heart, that's when it just started reaching more and more people. And my personality is how my personality is, and I just
Mm,
show that, I display that on camera because I mean
yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty much all I know. I don't like to front. You know what I mean? I don't like to get on camera and say, okay, so we're gonna do this triple radicule, and we're gonna.
yeah,
That's not.
yeah, yeah,
I don't do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
This is, I play. I groove and then I do chop. Like what I
yeah.
do is what I do. So staying true to myself, people can tell when you're trying to be something that you're not.
That's for
And
real.
I began to understand that, and yeah, I'm just like I'm gonna put out what I want to put. I'm gonna put out what makes me happy. I'm gonna put out what when I see it, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm glad I put that out. I like it, even if a whole bunch of
Yeah,
people don't like it. But it's just the kind of thing of just putting stuff out and just you're gonna find for those who are watching this, you're gonna find your audience. I always use this scenario between like Beyonce and the Snarky Puppy. Snarky Puppy isn't a group that has all of these words and lyrics to their song, but
yeah,
they can sell out a show of musicians or people
yeah,
who just like to hear music versus
yeah,
Beyonce who can sell out a show of people all around the world, but
yeah,
they both have their crowds. Whatever
yeah.
everybody is going to have their crowd. Any artist
There's a
will have
place. There's a
crowd.
place for everyone, right?
Exactly. So and
Yeah.
just understanding that helped me a whole lot as well.
Man, I think that is incredible. Like I said, I've really enjoyed just watching that. It seems like even though you're having fun, I mean, like you play with a smile on your face, bro, and
Man,
like
yeah,
you
it's
look
a
like you're
joy.
just you look like you're being yourself, and I feel like just being, I'm from London, you're from
Mhm.
America, but I feel like I can already connect with the type of person that you are, and that's
Wow.
the power of social media, and that's like you can see it through the phone,
Yeah.
like you can see that, and you can feel that energy. I think
Mm,
it's really admirable, but it's what I really like about it is that even though you're having fun with it and you're enjoying it, from my perspective, there's a seriousness to it as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah,
And there
yeah.
is like you can clearly see, all right, cool, it's Wild Chops
Right,
Wednesdays or
right.
whatever it is. Like
Mhm.
you've really thought about it
Yeah.
and
Oh,
you know,
definitely.
marketed it in that
Mhm.
way. Was there moments? Did you like sit down and be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do this? I'm like, did you have like a step by step plan with the
Mhm.
social media thing of, you know, and how hard was it to push yourself to post things even when you didn't want to?
Right.
Because that's where the quantity thing comes in.
Yeah,
Was
for
it like
sure.
I have to post every Wednesday now? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
was you pushing yourself to do that?
Mhm. So the thing is, I definitely sat down a million times, and pretty much anything that I'm gonna pursue before I really fully pursue it, I sit down and I either write on paper like what I want, like
Yeah,
I have like a vision and a mission, and just how I'm gonna get to where I'm gonna get to. I write out my plans of okay, this is what I want to do. Okay, how am I gonna get there, or what do I
yeah,
need in order to make
yeah,
this
yeah,
happen? Like
yeah,
I sit down and just make sure that I can look at that stuff instead of it just always being in my head because stuff is going to change so much if you're just
yeah,
going off in your head. But yeah, I wrote down plans and everything like that. But mainly it was just about what feels good to me. I don't even know what prompted the first Wild Chops Wednesday, but I remember one time I sat down and I'm like, okay, I gotta do something. And it was kind of gimmicky. It was like I was doing motivational Mondays. I was doing quick tip Tuesdays, which I'm kind of bringing back because those were doing very well.
yeah,
And then the Wild Chops Wednesdays, which was like a lot of people's favorite thing, just saying like crazy chops. I don't Throwback Thursday. That's a thing.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
at one point I was doing this thing called Famous Beat Fridays, where I would just
Yeah, I remember
recreate.
seeing that. Yeah,
I would just
yeah, yeah, yeah,
recreate, a famous groove or feel or whatever like that.
yeah,
That became too much because
yeah,
I didn't really care to I didn't really care to okay, this day got to be specific. This day got to be like I didn't really care to do that after a while. The Wild Chops Wednesday, I had a million videos of me chopping, and when I'm in sound check, I got a whole bunch of time. I'm gonna be private. When
Yeah,
when you're out on
yeah,
the road, you don't really get time to go into a private space and practice. So you
yeah,
got to get it out when you can. So
yeah,
that Wild Talks Wednesday, when I get on the road, is just me getting it out when I can, and it became a lot more consistent. So that's not difficult because that only became one day that I'm really
yeah,
like, okay. And then I started to understand people actually look forward to it.
yeah,
Social media is it's so huge, man, because people they look forward to this type of stuff. Like after you
yeah,
begin to be a content creator, they look forward to specific type of posts from you, or they just look forward to your content. So once I
yeah,
understood that, it was like, okay, if I'm gonna start posting every day, I gotta post every day. And when I feel like this past 2 weeks, I was loaded with work and I was traveling and rehearsals and stuff like that. I was like, I don't want to post on Instagram. I don't want to have to worry about posting because I don't only got to worry about posting. I gotta look at the comments. I gotta
yeah,
respond to some of the comments because that helps
yeah,
the algorithm of
yeah, yeah,
everything. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
So I'm like, if I know I can't respond to people's comments, I'm not going to post. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
just decided not to post, and those mental breaks are really great to take.
yeah.
Every now and again. Um,
Absolutely, yeah. 'Cause
and,
it
and
can become overwhelming after a
yeah,
while, man. It's a lot to manage. It's a
exactly,
lot to manage.
it is, and it's like a thing of Chick-fil-A. They don't open on Sundays, which makes people want them more on Monday or on
Right,
Tuesday.
right, right,
It
right.
became that
Yeah,
kind of thing. So,
yeah,
they say absence make the heart grow fonder or whatever like that. But I did
yeah,
notice when you take breaks from social media after posting a long time, like your views go up. I don't know if it's
yeah,
because people are just going back and watching your old stuff because you're not posting, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
noticed that, and I was like, "This is so weird." The world is, it's hard to explain,
yeah.
But it's a job. It's a job. It's a
And
job.
I really feel you on that, bro. And I just really want to, like, again, commend you because your reach,
Mm,
you managed to reach, many different parts of the world, and it's been good. Like, just as somebody who's like been able to follow your journey just from like I just found you on Instagram and like
mm,
this guy's killing, like, and just seeing the journey of like you playing with Raheem Devon and then you got the gig with Nas and then now
mm.
like you do the content creation stuff. It's a really admirable thing, and this is why I've set up this podcast to
Wow.
just show and talk to people about like there's also so many different ways of approaching and just getting into the industry, whether it's a family member who helps you, whether it's
Yeah,
you going out and figuring it out yourself, whether it's through social
exactly.
media. People need to not discount social media. Musicians, like,
Right.
don't discount what it can do for you because a lot of
Yeah.
us are like curious, like like I'm just good. Like,
Right.
no, yeah, you might be good, but nobody knows you're good because you don't post any videos.
Exactly. Exactly.
You get what I'm
It's a huge
saying?
thing. It's a huge
It's a
thing,
huge
man.
thing. So like people, you can't really take it for granted. And I just kind of I want to wrap it up lastly
Yeah.
by just asking, what is next? What is next for you, and what's kind of like what's going on now? Have you got any goals that you want to achieve?
Yes.
Coming up.
Yes, sir. So I'm doing this year. I've put my foot down to myself and told myself I'm going to go after doing more drum clinics and really doing more things where Hazel Maze is in the limelight versus
Yeah,
I'm playing for artists, and things like
yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
and really building my brand. So I am doing a drum clinic in New York on February 29th. I'm
Amazing.
doing a drum clinic in Houston on March 11th, with a couple other guys on that. And after that, I mean, I got supposed to be doing there's a Lovers and Friends festival. I'm supposed to be doing that with Nas and like Roots Picnic, like
Yeah,
good big festivals, happening. But I do plan to lock in more clinics. Hopefully, I'll be able to come out to Singapore.
yeah.
Hopefully I'll
You can
be
come
able
out
to go
here.
out to London or somewhere, to do
Yeah,
clinics. But that's my biggest goal is to do more clinics.
yeah.
And then brand deals. I did a video for New Balance,
I
and I'm hoping
saw
that,
that. I
yeah,
saw that.
I'm hoping to
That
do more
was
stuff like that.
dope.
I appreciate it. So I'm
That was
hoping to
dope.
secure a brand deal with New Balance, man. That I think that's probably my biggest passive goal of
Yeah,
this year is to secure a brand deal with New Balance, and I have a few other uh, companies that I would like to do brand deals with, but
collab with.
yeah, yeah, that's my biggest one.
That's
So
big, bro.
Drum Clinics, yeah. So
That's big. Well, bro, like, listen, man, it's been amazing, and also, I wanted this podcast for people to like, you're a super humble guy, but it's important as well to like celebrate the wins and celebrate the things
oh
that
my gosh,
that
yes,
you've done as
yes, sir.
well. Like, it's like, trust me, like I said, it's inspirational. You're a killing player. You're a great guy, and
Bless
it's
you,
like,
brother.
it's just been really great to get to know you on here, and just like for the people who are gonna watch this, like, this is another way of being able to do it and being successful
Yeah,
at doing it. I know you're a family man as well. Like, he's
sure.
got loads of other things going on as well. But he's a cool
Yeah,
guy. He's approachable. You can hit him, like, you can DM him,
yeah.
you can ask him the
Talk to
questions,
me. Talk to
like,
me.
hit him up. You know what I mean? So, bro,
Yeah.
I really appreciate having you on here, bro. It's definitely been great. I've learned a lot as well. So I definitely appreciate you, brother.
No doubt. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for having me. I definitely.
Man,
I mean, Dexter, you already know. Like for the
my guy.
longest time, I've admired you and your plan and just everything.
Thank
You
you,
know what
bro.
I mean? And
Thank you.
just
Thank you.
just the journey that I've been able to see from all of the stuff that you would post. Even
Yeah.
though you don't post as much as I would like for you to,
I
but
know.
you
I'm working on it. I'm working on
but
it.
nah, you're working, man. You're working, man. You got a
Yeah.
family and
No.
everything like that.
Thank
So
you very much, bro.
yeah.
And I really appreciate you, man. God bless you, bro.
Bless you,
And
brother. I appreciate
until
you.
the next time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Until next time. I appreciate this, man. I really do.
Come on. Thank you, brother.
All
All
right,
right.
be safe, man.